What we didn't do in the first week, which we thought we'd change, is we didn't do a children's talk like we do in Big Church. So why don't you come and sit down the front, or you can stay where you are, I don't mind, and we can have something for you kids, and it'll be good for the adults as well, so you can listen in as well. And we're going to be doing these big questions that we've been looking at. If you remember what we were doing in church, we were looking at these big questions that people have asked about God throughout the years. And the question we've reached is this one, question 6. How can we glorify God? How can we glorify God? Now, glorify is a long word, isn't it? It's a complicated word. And sometimes in churches, we don't explain what these complicated words mean. So I was thinking, how can I best explain this? If I want to glorify someone, it means that I want to show them that I love them, and I want to show that I think that they're amazing. And I was thinking of other examples of this. So I was thinking, how do I show my mum and dad that I love them and that I think they're amazing? So why don't you pause this video and speak to your mum and dad and your brothers and sisters, if you've got them there, about how you show your mum and dad, or whoever looks after you, that you think they're amazing. Why don't you pause it now? Okay, you're back in the room. You've had that discussion. I can imagine some of the things that you said. Did you talk about how you sometimes buy your mummy and daddy presents when you want to show them that you love them? It was Mother's Day, wasn't it, last week? So maybe you got your mum chocolates or something like that to show how much you appreciate her. Or maybe you made her breakfast in bed. Maybe it's something as simple as saying, I love you. I'm sure your parents love it when they hear you say that. Another way that we show our parents that we love them and that we think they're amazing is by listening to them and obeying what they say. An example I thought of was when your parents have something on the table, like this saucepan, and they say, do not touch the saucepan, it is very hot. Now, what's the first thing you do when your parents say that? Very, very hot. Very, very hot. Ow, don't worry. I was just acting there, but you can imagine, I'm sure you've done that before. Now, why do your parents tell you, do not touch the saucepan? Is it because they're boring? They don't want you to have fun? No, they tell you not to touch the saucepan because it's not safe to touch the saucepan, and they love you and they don't want your fingers to get hurt. So they tell you, don't touch the saucepan. Now, in the Bible, God gives his people rules, and he tells them what to do and what not to do. But is it because he wants their lives to be boring and he wants to rule over them and wants them to be miserable and doesn't want them to have any fun? No. Like the saucepan, God knows what's best for us, just like our parents know what's best for us. And God knows what's best for us, and he wants us to obey him. And he wants us to live the best possible lives that we can. So he gives us these rules and commands. And there's a verse that I want you to learn. Maybe you can record yourself once you've memorised this verse, and you can send it to us, and I'll be very impressed. Maybe I could give you a sweet if I'm allowed. Maybe I'll send that in the post for you. But the verse is from Deuteronomy, and chapter 11 and verse 1. Love the Lord your God and keep his requirements, his decrees, his laws and his commands always. Love the Lord your God and keep his requirements, his decrees, his laws and his commands always. That's how we show God that we love him. We show God that we love him by following what he says, by loving him, by telling him that we love him, by praying and by reading his word. But we also show it by listening to what he says, by following those rules. So that is how we glorify God. The book says, by loving him and obeying his commands and his laws. So the next time your mum puts something or your dad puts something hot on the table and they tell you not to touch it, we remember, don't we, that they do that because it's for our best. They want the very best for us. And God's the same with his laws. So how do we glorify God? We do it by loving him and obeying his commands and his laws. Okay, you can go back to your seats.